On the last Angling Archaeology, I showed you how to make easy, do-it-yourself 70s inspired spinners, just like these ones right here, the Angling Archaeology Super 70s spinners, with nothing more than a few dozen items that you may or may not have in your tackle box. But with the help of viewers like you, there may be an easier way. Because you know, as the old saying goes, work lazier, not smarter? Or maybe it's work harder? I don't know. Either way, at the end of this video, we're going to compare the two, and you can decide for yourself which one you like better. So stick around. Alright, so if you didn't see my first video, I highly encourage you guys to go back and check this out, and you can see all the items that you're going to need to make these 70s inspired spinnerbaits. But if you don't want to, well, I totally get it. It can be a little bit of a snooze fest. So, take a look at this right here, and then you can see all the items that you're going to need to have. So for this spinnerbait, we're going to make a special color that I'm going to call Festivus. And the reason for that is I recently learned that bass can really only distinguish two certain colors, one being red and one being green. Now wait, but before someone jumps on there and starts tapping away, wait a minute, you know, bass can probably see different shades of teal. Okay, I'm sure they can probably see other things or whatever else, but really they can distinguish between green and red. And these are the big main colors. It makes sense. They've been making green worms forever. The hottest colors are green pumpkin, watermelon red. So that makes sense. You know, 50, 60 years they've been making craws and red crankbaits because they work and they can see them and they draw attention. So why not combine these two together into what is kind of a holiday inspired looking lure, and we'll call it Festivus. That being said, we made this really cool boogie blue in the first episode, and I really think there's a time and place for this. Now, I don't think the bass can really distinguish between black and blue in the water. I think this is going to be a perfect, cloudy, stained, murky water situation where all they're going to see is a shadow that's going by and they're going to attack it. So I still think this is a fantastic color. Now, if you're doing something more in clear water, you may want to pick up your whites or your chartreuses. And I really don't even know that they can distinguish between those either. But, you know, something to think about. But for this one, we're going to do a Festivus. Alrighty, for this spinner, we're going to use all the same ingredients that we used for the last one. And so starting, you're going to need your wire. I know this is incorrect wire, but it's going to work for what we're needing for. And then you're going to need a skirt. I prefer a vinyl skirt. We'll show you some of these that I made here in a little bit, but you can see some of the old school rubber ones. I mean, they're nice, they'll work, but I mean, sometimes the rubber ones can be a little hit or miss. This is actually a newer one that I think stands up a little better. But the vinyl is my favorite in my opinion. Use whatever you want. Two different blades. You need a hook, your weight, your beads, and your clevis. All right, so the reason this one's a 5-minute spinner and maybe not a 6 or 7-minute spinner is that you don't have to do the line twist that we did on the last one. We're simply going to do this reverse engineered, if you will. So right here, we're going to put the hook on this side rather than this side as we did in the last video. And we'll do a side-by-side comparison. All right, so as we used before, make sure you get these fishing pliers with the teeth. And we're just going to simply bend that. Try to do this so we can see it on camera. Just be careful with that. So as you can see, hopefully you can see that. We've got that straightened out a little bit. Next thing we're going to do, put your weight on. So, as I told you, we're doing the Festivus one right here. Boom, just as simple as that. Then I'm going to put a bead right here, and I'll tell you why here in just a little bit. But just trust me on this, folks. Just trust me. Just put a little bead right there. And see how it fits really nicely into the cup of the bolt weight right there? Perfect. Absolutely perfect. Here we go. Okay, then we're going to bend this back. And if you have a little bit of a weak point, just snip it, start over. That's the one thing I'm worried about doing it this way, not the other way, is the possibility of a weak point. Now, with this as well too, make sure that we got the hook facing this wire, okay? So we're just gonna put it in like that. That's the way it should look, if you guys can see that. So, do that. I'm just going to take it off camera for 1 second. And voila. There you have it. That's what it should look like. So there is step 1. Very easy. Now we're on to step 2. Get another bead. And we're going to put this bead right here. Then get one of your blades. Like I told you, I'm doing a red and green. You do whatever you want. We're just getting crazy. Things are getting out of control. All right. Put the other bead. And this is what that should look like. Exactly how we did the last one, except this time we're using the longer end of the wire, not the shorter end. Now, once we have that, go ahead and start a little loop with your little fishing pliers right here. Then we're going to use the blade. And if you didn't watch the first video, I showed you how to put these together. But the blade with the ring and the barrel swivel all put together. You can put that in like so. Take this off camera real quick. Tighten it up. And there you have it. I mean, that is simply, and that's under 5 minutes that was made right there. Now, I'm going to show you how to finish it off here with the skirt. We're going to bend this and put a little keeper right here for your line. To complete this, here's what we're going to start with. We're going to go ahead and just bend this to keep it in place. That way, your bolt's not going anywhere. Then we're going to dab a little bit of glue. And this is why I have this bead right here. It's more or less to stick to this, because there's really no, if you didn't put something there, this would keep on sliding off. There's not a whole lot there that's keeping it in place. Now, if you watch the other video where I twisted the line around the hook, you have something to keep the skirt on. Well, this way you really don't. So you need to have something for the glue to hold on to. So let's go ahead and, all right. Like I said before, I usually wear gloves because I usually spill all over my hands, but we're not going to do that. We're not going to do that. All right. Good thing about this too is you can also, it helps keep the weight stable as well. Now let's go ahead and get this skirt on here and get it up through there and in place. And my fingers are already all sticking together, so we know that it's working. That's great. Fantastic. Good stuff. Just put a little dab here, just for a little extra insurance, right? No big deal. No big deal. All right. We're gonna let that sit for just a minute. All right, so we let that glue set for about 2 minutes, which is not long enough. Perfect. Okay, so next, if you watched the first video, we're just gonna snap off a little bit of tubing here. And what we're gonna do is just set that right in here. And then when you put your line will not go all over the place. It won't go down here, won't go up there. And then you have a complete spinner right here. Voila. Now let's compare this to the one that we made last week, and you guys decide which one you like better. Maybe you want the one with a little bit more insurance on the hook, or maybe you want the one that has a little longer blade, and maybe that's just fine for you guys. But this is certainly a faster way to make them, and we'll put them on the water this spring to test them. All right, let's go ahead and move the Festivus out of the way, and let's take a look at the one from last week compared to the one from this week. And there are two notable differences. First and foremost being the line twist around the hook right here. And I like that for a couple different reasons. A, the insurance that you're going to get. So if you have a fish that hooks onto this, that's not going to go anywhere. B, you have something for the skirt to hold on to. You have this little bit of wire sticking out right there. You got a little place where you can glue that. Now, where this may fall short is the length of the wire right here for the two blades. I don't know if that will make or break. Maybe it will, maybe it won't. But some of these downsized spinners have blades this length anyways. We're going to have to test them out this spring to find out. Now, this one, the obvious answer is this is much simpler and easier to make, and you don't have to do the line twist around the hook. But the problem is too, will the skirt stay on by just simply gluing it to this bead right here? It may fall off right there. And is this a weak point right here? I don't know yet until I test it out. What I do like better about this one is the length of the wire. So I think that's, that's definitely a plus for this one. Two other differences you're going to notice as well too is that the way that you tie it on are different ways. So the longer length blade, I guess if you will, or the single loop right there, that one you're hooking it in going right side. The shorter length with the line twist or the wire twist, you're going to the left side. I don't know if that makes a difference or not, in the water. We're going to have to test these things out. So let's go ahead and look at that as well with the skirts on so you can see what they look like. And really, side-by-side comparison, it's just kind of an apples and oranges. And we'll move some of these other ones out of the way so you can really see. So here is the one from this week. And we can see we've got a longer wire right there. And this is last week's. Very similar. Just a shorter wire right there. But which one's going to work? I don't know. We're going to have fun and we're going to figure it out. But these are two ways that you can make spinners at home, no mold, super easy with do-it-mold wires. Meaning wires that are intended to be molded with metal. But you don't have to. You can just bend them. The fun thing about making these spinner baits is there really isn't a right or wrong way to do it, especially when you're using the wrong type of wire, right? These were intended to be made with mold products where you melt down the metal and you make the spinner that way. But we're just getting creative. We're having fun. We're bending metal. We're doing something a little bit different. Do you think when Nick and Cosmic Cream came up with a soft plastic in their kitchen, folks were probably like, what? That's not going to look realistic. There's no way. That's nothing compared to the real worm. Well, guess what? Worked out pretty well because there's a gazillion soft plastics out there that catch fish every single day. So there's one. Or hey, Virgil Ward, tying some feathers to this jig and making these jig heads. These are fantastic. They catch everything underneath the water. So get creative. Have fun. Go make them. See what works, see what doesn't. And that's what we're going to do this spring. We're going to take these out and we're going to see which one works best. Because that's half the fun, is trial and error. Well, that's going to do it for this episode of Angling Archaeology, where we unearth the good old days. I want to thank you all for watching, liking, subscribing. If you haven't done so already, please do like and subscribe. It really does help me out a lot. And why not? It's free. And that's going to do it for part 2 of Angling Archaeology Super 70 Spinners how-to videos. And I encourage you all to get out there and make something for yourself. Get creative, have fun, go catch some fish. And until next time, folks, we'll see you on the water. Thanks for watching Angling Archaeology, where we unearth the good old days. Don't forget to like and subscribe.